arrived, and life on the Peel Godred branch line was very busy. Sadie and Sophia had been well behaved for the most part, which pleased Harris. "So you actually trusted them with your passenger runs?" asked Eagle one afternoon. I knew it was only a matter of time." "I guess it's going well then." "They've both had their own minor mishaps. Nothing any of us haven't been through before." "Do tell." "Last week, Sadie was stopped by a trio of cows on the line. And the other day, Sophia had a loose brake pipe, which caused her to stop on the level crossing before Abby." "And did they take it well?" "As you could expect, Sophia gave her sister some grief, but it was Sadie's turn after her experience. Then they laughed it off in the sheds that night." "Good to hear. I know my younger brother James would go on till the cows come home if that happened to him." "You don't say." He's a hard worker. I actually suggested to the director to bring him here, so I could teach some sense to him." "You're a devious one, Eagle." Brothers have to look out for each other." "Very true." "Have you heard how your brother is doing, Harris?" "To be honest, I don't know. Not since I left Darlington." Sadie then rolled alongside the pair with a goods train. "I didn't know you had a brother." His name's Quincy. We didn't spend much time together before I was brought here." "So you're not the only EE1? "No. Originally he was meant to be the only one, but the director commissioned the works to build a second. I came here, and he stayed to run the electrified line between York and Newcastle they were preparing." "I know the latter, but from what I was told, they never started electrifying that line." "Are you sure?" "Very sure." "So you don't know what happened to him?"
"Sorry, I don't. Like I said, we thought you were that engine."
"Sounds like something you could ask the director about," suggested Eagle. "I will. And thank you, Sadie."
"No problem, I guess."
By a stroke of luck, the director and his family were heading up to Kirkmacken later that evening, and Harris made sure to ask him to check on his brother's whereabouts. The director agreed, and all that was left for Harris was to wait. 2 days went by, and Harris hadn't heard back from the director. He was still wondering about his brother when Edward arrived with passengers. Harris took his opportunity to ask Edward if he had heard anything. "I'm not that sure. He's already preoccupied with Henry, Gordon, and James complaining about no shunter at Tidmouth." Yes. Eagle mentioned something about you piloting the other day." "It has its pros and cons. He's had to help cover some of my trains, which is a big help." "I'd say. For your average mixed traffic engine, he seems to know a thing about handling goods." "Indeed, he's one of the best. But, now that I think about it, I overheard something about the director catching the express this morning." "Did he say where he was going?"
"No. I guess he didn't want you to get excited if he couldn't find him."
"That is true."
A fortnight had passed after Harris asked the director about his brother. He was able to take his mind off the matter and was idly in Kildane Yard waiting for Eagle to drop off a goods train. The red engine arrived and pulled up next to Harris.
"I hate to ask you again. I think you'll be intrigued to know what the director discovered on his trip." "What did he find then?" "See for yourself."
And Eagle slowly puffed forward. Harris could hardly believe his eyes. Behind Eagle's tender was a large green box identical to him, decked out in the northwestern green and yellow lining, the lettering NWRE4,
and a nameplate which read, Quincy! Hello, Harris. Long time no see. So the fat director did acquire you? Aye. But, may I ask, what exactly happened after I left? Not long after my trials on the Sheldon line, the Big Four was created, and plans were dropped for my line. Since then, I've been in storage. Good grief. That's horrible. That does explain why Sadie thought you were your brother. Indeed. But I'll tell you what, Harris. Even though I was in that shed for a few years, it was a nightmare not knowing what my future would hold. Ugh, I can imagine. Kinda hard to. Despite electrified lines existing, they were mainly for goods, and we were built for passengers. You'd be surprised how much freight he's shifted over the past several months. I was made aware of this, but continuing, what was the point of another engine that needed a special type of fuel, when Grizzly's A1s were already being pumped out of the workshops with more to come? And engines like us, there was no call for me. That had to be a rough pill to swallow. Aye. When you said made aware of this, what exactly did you mean? Well, about a week and a half ago, a smartly dressed gentleman in the Shedmaster walked in. Mr. Perkins? Hello, Quincy. If I may, sir, who's this? Quincy, I'd like you to meet Sir Topham Hatt, Director of the Northwestern Railway. Ah, so you're the man who ordered my little brother. I am indeed. How's he doing? He's doing a spectacular job running our branch line to Peel Godred. At least one of us turned out to be useful. Not anymore. Sir? A few days ago, your brother asked me to check your service record. And when I was informed about your situation, I couldn't let a useful engine sit in a shed gathering dust. Hard to call me useful when all I've had is trials. Well, if you're anything like your brother, you'll be an excellent addition to his branch line. But, sir, I'm not exactly in what you'd call pristine condition. Between buying me and paying to fix me, that'll come at a cost. Nonsense. You're out of the job, and there's an opening you can fill to bring profit that'll pay for it. Also, with his situation, the price may be lowered. That too. So, are you ready to be useful? Yes, sir. I am. With that settled, Quincy, you'll be coming to the Northwestern Railway. I was over the moon with excitement. The next day, I was pulled out of the shed and delivered to the workshops at Croven's Gate, where they cleaned me out and gave me this new livery. Just then, Henry arrived, and the fat director stepped out of one of his coaches. What's your brother doing here, Harris? Henry asked, and they quickly explained what happened. Sir, I can't thank you enough for this. It's no problem, Harris. And with the work expected to pick up on your branch next year, Quincy will be of great help. Well then, welcome to the Peel Godred branch, Quincy. Thank you, Harris. And the two began reminiscing about their time in the workshop. Now, if you'll engines excuse me, I need to find a shunter. Ugh, it's about time. Quincy quickly got settled into his working life on the branch line. He was happy to meet the other engines. and took keen interest in a certain railway. Pinion wheels? Yes, that teeth locks into the rack rail, which allows us to climb to the top of the mountain, said Wilfred. Very interesting. And how's the view up there? Breathtaking, and you can see for miles, replied Shane Dooney. Although personally, I'd like to climb the mountain I'm named after one day. Keep dreaming, Dooney. Dreams can become reality. Sure. Quincy could only chuckle. He proved to be a wise one, not taking the sister's nonsense. Oi, Quincy, there's a shipment that needs bringing down from the aluminium works. Could you bring it down? Why would I bring down a delivery that Harris is currently on? You know, if you wanted to take my passenger train, all you could have done was ask. And trying to deal with Harris's bad habit of taking heavier loads. What the? Harris! Those trucks were meant for Sadie to bring down. I know, so I decided to save her the bother. But at the end of the day, he was happy to finally be useful and call Sodor his home. There you go, Catherine. Night, ladies. Good night, Coldy. So, are you ever going to tell them about Godred? I'd say the time is about right. They've settled into working life on the island. And it's about time they learned its history. When are you going to do it, then? I'll ask them to come up tomorrow night. Good idea. I'm too tired to deal with that tonight. Aye. Maybe he would have been a better engine if he didn't throw himself off the mountain.